Yeah, it's that little Chico Pitbull. You already know what it is. This right here is
Authenticity Radio with slade-suiter.
My body don't lie. Out of my mind. Let it rain over me.
Mr. Worldwide.
I'm rising so high. Out of my mind.
Mark
So
Anthony.
let it rain over me. Let it rain over me.
And now, your host, who has the hospitality of a fat and jolly innkeeper, slade-suiter.
Go green sliding, you're burning up the quarter mile. Go green sliding, you're coasting through the hip lap drive.
And thank you very much for joining us today. Today, we have a special program. Recapture your drive in an authentic way. We're going to find yourself some traction. This is slade-suiter. So who better to walk us through and to find us some tread on our tires of life, authentic tread, than Sherry Ray. Now, Sherry happens to be a consultant, a business coach, a speaker, and the author of Finding Traction, Recapture Your Drive. And Sherry joins us from my favorite state in the United States of America, Colorado. Sherry, welcome to you. Welcome to Authenticity Radio.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here, Slade.
It's wonderful to have you. I'm very excited that we can. You're going to get me out of the mud today.
Absolutely. And you've got to say go Broncos if you're going to talk about the Mile High City.
Broncos, yes. You know what? I don't have an affiliation quite yet. However, there is a possibility that I just may be Broncoed up
Yay.
in the years coming up here. So yeah, go Broncos.
Yeah, and they have found their traction this year. They have done it.
That's because you've been working with them, isn't it?
I have worked with some of the retirees, not the actual team, but what an honor. What an honor.
Sherry, hold on. I heard by the grapevine, and also by talking to you, that you are a race car driver. Is that true?
I raced cars for 12 years. I did.
Christmas.
Most exciting thing, most scary thing, most exhilarating thing I've ever done in my life.
Now, what kind of cars did you race?
I raced a 65 Corvette that was originally delivered to Alan Shepard, the astronaut.
Jeez.
And a 1970 Lola Formula Ford, which is like an IndyCar open wheel, almost like sitting in a go-kart.
You drove classics.
Yes, with the vintage group.
Jiminy Christmas, how much fun. You wore a helmet and everything.
Oh, yes. Once I learned I could scream in my helmet and nobody could hear me, I settled right down. I did a lot of screaming in my helmet.
I can see that, the adrenaline and just pushing the pedal to the metal. In that case, it's real metal.
Yeah, I mean, everything in your body is so alive with fear, excitement, competition. There's just, when you get out of that car, you're so calm because you've used every emotion possible.
But you sleep well at night.
You do. I mean, I can't even describe what it's like. Just amazing.
Okay, so what brought you? Just a little story on about who you are. What brought you from racing cars to being a consultant, to being a business coach, and to helping people find their own traction in life? What's your story?
Well, I kept doing all these things, and I was doing them well. I was in sales. I was in management. I had my own recruiting company, and I kept saying, really, come on, where's the one? Where's that one I'm going to be great at that just feels like it fits so perfectly? And I was disgusted, and I actually had a woman walk to me in a parking lot, introduce herself. I don't even remember why she introduced herself, and she was a coach. And I said, I want to know more about that. I visited with her the next day, found out about coaching, and said, all these experiences I've had, whether it be racing, selling, managing, it was all so I could be a coach, a speaker, an author. It just clicked at that moment, and I literally stopped what I was doing. I had a recruiting company at that time, threw all my folders in the trash, and signed up for coaching training at that moment and never looked back.
Wow, how dedicated. How brave of you.
It just felt like what I'd waited for all my life, and it was such a shock to me to finally know what I was here to do and why I'd gone through all those experiences and continue to go through such interesting experiences that it just had to be.
Oh, yeah, just like, when I went through coaching training myself, I myself have learned so much. I mean, in a sense, we're actually coaching ourselves.
Yes.
And it was just, that alone is worth its price in gold.
It is. And you, it turned out you and I went through we didn't know that until later. We went through the same coaches training, but it was such an eye-opening experience and just brought everything together about our own personal lives. And I think the biggest thing that I learned is, for the first time in my life, what I was doing for a living was not about me. And that was, it makes it so fulfilling to no longer be about me.
And so here you are in Colorado, and here I am in Barcelona, Spain, and you are about ready to tell us how to get traction in an authentic way. And I happen to have an outline of your book. And if you don't mind, we could just kind of go down this way, and you're probably familiar with it. And I will just read you the beginning of the chapter, and you will just let it fly.
Okay.
Sound cool?
Sounds great.
All right.
But you have to remember the very first page. And this is the fun part that says, I was headed towards turn 1, going 130 miles an hour when I pulled my steering wheel off in my hands. How ready are you for change? Because that's life. Whether we're, that is life. We think we know what's going to happen, and it never is true.
Well, yeah, that probably, yeah, you know what, were you calm? Were you calm at that moment?
I had I guess I won't say that word on the radio, you-know-what moment, and then I had that, I'm looking at a wall, I'm looking at people, I'm looking at a tire barrier, and what am I going to do? And yeah, all of a sudden, I had that moment of, I can't believe this is happening, and then you got to take control. And that's when you find your traction, right?
Well, there we go. And we're headed that way.
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully not in such a dramatic way that you did, but maybe we can find our traction by just turning the key.
Yeah.
Okay. So claiming your authentic self. Tell me about this.
I think for so long, most of us have been trying to please somebody else. We're trying to put ourselves into a mold that makes that other person happy, whether it's your boss, your spouse, your mom and dad, whatever it is. We've wanted to be what we think they want us to be.
Okay, kind of trying to be valued.
Yes. And what we learn is that it's a false self. It doesn't feel comfortable. It's just an awkward place. And when you really settle down and think, what do I need? And that actually is going to lead you right into the next chapter, is you have to value and respect yourself to be authentic. And everyone knows that you're not being authentic. They feel it. It's just...
That's true, isn't it?
it's like, well, who is that person really? Because it doesn't feel good.
But we're all playing the game,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether we're on the bus or the metro or whatever it is. When we're projecting an image, people can we can smell it.
Oh, yeah. And I lived in LA for 12 years. So boy, oh boy, was there a lot of inauthenticity going on. I get my hair done in Beverly Hills, and it was so phony. It was hilarious. It was sad, but wow. Everyone trying to impress everyone.
So that's realizing the power of our values, which you mentioned. Yes.
And that's chapter 2 is all, I don't think I knew I could have values And I give a list of people or, of the values that you can have. I always laugh and say for the first 30-some years of my life, I was in the please like me, please like me, please like me. Mm-hmm. And then my pendulum swung the other way as I began to like myself. And, I'm going to have an opinion whether you want to hear it or not because I'm so proud I finally have one. So I was obnoxious for 10 years. And I think the CTI training brought me back into center of understanding who I am, what's important to me, what my values are. And when I say values, like, for example, my number one value is freedom. I will not even drive to a party with someone else. I want to get there when I want to get there, and I want to leave when I want to leave. And if I have put myself in a box, I'm not happy. And I'm not happy 2 weeks before the party that I agreed to go with someone else.
Well, if you're going to be driving 130 miles per hour, I don't want to drive with you either.
Which I don't do on the street, by the way, because there's too many idiots out there. But, I know what I need now to be happy. And whether you're an employee, whether you're just in everyday life, if you need to see accomplishments and results every day in your life, if that's one of your values, then obviously you've got a list that you want to complete every day so that you feel good. And knowing that helps you be authentic. You've got to be able to tell people what you need to feel, that your life is good every day.
Mm-hmm. Now, Sherry, can I back you up just for a second? Going back to number one, claiming your authentic self. Claiming is a conscious, active thought. Is something conscious about that, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
And a lot of us are probably confused. I mean, a lot of us probably have a sense. Yeah, okay, I know when I kind of feel when I'm being authentic. But really bringing that to mind is who am I as an authentic person? And then claiming. That's very powerful right there.
Yeah, and most of us for so many years have never known because we've been in that phony stage. Mm-hmm. But when you're authentic, there's a peacefulness that overcomes you. There's a comfortableness that feels right. Mm-hmm. You're just living from your heart, from your true space. And we've all had it at different times in our life, but we didn't maybe understand what was going on.
Wow. So claiming it and then realizing the power of our values. Mm-hmm. And then that moves us to the next one, which is changing your perspective. What is that about?
We're so good at making up stories about how we think something is or what's going on and putting our blinders on to a situation. We all do it, whether someone makes some off-color remark and we've assumed it's all about us.
It has to be.
Well, we make ourselves so important.
Oh, he sneezed over there. That's about me.
Yeah. That person glared at me, or there was a tone in their voice that just didn't feel right. Yeah. What did I do wrong?
Yeah. Of course it was about me. He meant it for me.
Yeah. But if you're comfortable, you know your values, you're now comfortable, you're able to say, maybe it's not about me. Mm. Let me look at that from a lot of different views. And, why don't I ask some questions? Which leads into that next chapter of open-ended questions. Instead of assuming from your perspective what's going on, to be able to say, gosh, tell me more about that. Help me understand. Mm-hmm. But we're so conditioned to run off mad or scared.
That's true.
And make some judgment that is completely false.
And hiding under the covers.
Oh, yeah. We've all done it.
Or under the car. Well, doesn't do much for the driving element, does it?
No. I laugh and say that, when I went from the Corvette to the Lola, I was now racing with the boys. And so I was told those boys will never accept you. Those men will never accept you. They don't like new drivers and they do not like women. So you will not be accepted in this group. And I was told that by an outsider. Mm-hmm. So I could have bought into that perspective. But instead, before we went out for the very first race, we'd all pulled up on the grid. I got out of my car. I went to each guy in their car, shook their hand, said, I'm Sherry Ray. I am not new to racing. I'm new to this little 900-pound car. I'm used to being in a big Corvette, 2,600 pounds. And I want to warn you that when we go into the corners, I'm going to hit the brakes way too soon right now because I'm not used to a light car. So stay away from the back of my car. And of course I was terrified in this car for the first race, and so of course I was in last place because, you know, with open wheels, if you touch, somebody's going in the air.
Yeah.
But when I pulled into my pits at the end of the race, all of those burly guys were standing in my pits clapping.
Oh, hot diggity dog.
Cheering me and saying, we're going to teach you how to drive that little car.
That is so awesome.
So talk about a shift in perspective.
So people were standing in your pit. And if you would have listened to that individual from the outside, we have lots of those in our life, wanting to warn us about not living our life.
Correct.
And if we listen to that, well, we just won't end up driving that 900, how many pounds?
900 pound versus a 2,600 pound car.
Okay, 900 pound car.
Well, we take off making these assumptions, and they're not true. So we're behaving in a way that we think fits the assumption. Mm-hmm. And they don't even know why you're behaving that way. I could have been, you know, really cold and not spoken to any of those guys because I assumed they didn't like me and they weren't going to accept me. Instead, I just head on said, here's who I am, here's what I do. And I was authentic. You can take it or leave it, but here's who I am. And they embraced the authentic me and couldn't wait.
And they smelt that out too, didn't they?
Yeah.
When you approached their window, there was not much of you hiding behind any image at that moment, was there?
No. And it's take it or leave it. Here's who I am. I'm happy to be a part of your team, and here's what I can tell you about me.
How awesome. That's wonderful. And so you learned how to ask for what you want.
I did, and I think we all battle with it every day because we don't know. We don't want to know the truth. We'd rather make 500 stories up about what we think's happening, but it's so nice, and people think that's conflict. It's not conflict. You don't have to tackle the person. You just want to say, gosh, help me understand more about what you meant. Even if someone's being stern or angry with you, tell me more about how you feel. What's going on?
Otherwise, I'm going to repeat this.
Yeah. I mean, I had a woman that I had a confrontation with for 10 years that I worked for that turned on me. I had no idea why. I was uncomfortable every time I saw her. And I finally ran into her in Hawaii, of all places, on the beach. And I thought, it's like, I can't deal with this anymore myself.
That's a huge coincidence. My goodness.
Talk about vulnerable. I'm in my bathing suit. And I walked up to her and I said, what went wrong those years ago when I was working for you? What changed? What happened? And it was a complete misunderstanding. And what a relief to let go
of
that perspective and that, by me being willing to just ask an open question, help me understand what was that about?
Yeah, for a person who values freedom, that is a freeing experience to find let go of something carrying around for so long. Wow. And
I want to clarify when I talk about open-ended questions for those people who may not understand. You can ask yes or no questions all day, but you won't get any information.
Are you Sherry Ray?
I am Sherry Ray. What do you want to know?
Are you from Colorado?
Yes.
Well, this is a great interview, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a coach?
Yep.
Okay. Have you been coaching?
Yep.
See, isn't this great, people? This is not open-ended questions, so go ahead, Sherry.
Right. So open-ended questions are, tell me more. What else do I need to know? How was that for you? What did you enjoy about it? How was your day? Not did you have a good day. You get so much rich information. It's amazing.
Yeah, it kind of opens up the chest cavity, doesn't it?
It does, and it's exciting. It's so easy to assume what someone's going to say.
And how about, is it important, Sherry, I'll just ask you, is it important to actually be behind the question before you ask it?
No.
Rather than having it kind of like just a test question?
I don't think so. I think you just, if you're worried about what the question is going to be, then you're not listening to what they're saying.
That seems to be true. Yeah.
You have to just let them finish what they're saying and go for it. And you're leading me right into the next, it's about the listening as well.
Oh, listening skills. So fine-tuning your listening skills.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Well, we want to. Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Good, great. And I still battle with this. I want to finish the sentence for somebody. I'm in a hurry. I need to go. I'm going to assume what they're saying, so I've already shut down. Boy, if you truly sit there and listen, people are dying to be heard. It's such a respectful thing. And you're missing out. And I don't know about you, Slade, but in our training as a coach, that was probably the biggest one that hit me between the eyes, because I remember them asking a woman in our class a question that I was sure I knew what her answer was going to be. And when she answered something completely different, I was humbled beyond belief at that moment.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah,
How many times?
So this is kind of like dancing with our assumptions, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. How many times that I made assumptions that were wrong? Wow. Stunning, absolutely stunning to me, and just humiliating and humbling to say, wow. So, it's about that listening piece, and what a gift. We know how we feel when someone is truly present and listening to us. What a gift it is. And why wouldn't we want to give it to the other person? We want to give it to the other person as well.
And it encourages you to share even more.
Yes.
At a deeper level.
And it's valuable. It's such valuable information.
And fine-tuning means work, doesn't it? I mean, you're actually asking the person to sit down and practice this. Practice listening.
Yes. And I go through that exercise whenever I speak with big groups. I have them do an exercise of listening. Sit knee to knee and let one person talk for 1 minute. They think they're going to die, not being able to interrupt.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I don't know about you, Slade, but when I became a coach, it was really hard. I actually would wear a baseball cap and put it on backwards to put my coaching hat on, to learn to let them speak without interrupting.
And there seems to be an energy element to that too, isn't it?
Yes.
Kind of creating the place or the field or whatever name you want to put on it. And that brings us to the next place, which is dealing with insecure people. This is really good. This is really helpful.
And the bottom line is, I think we've all been in those shoes. And there's an empathy of realizing that anyone that's insecure is either shut down or behaving like a jerk in some way. It's even a bully is insecure. So those people that you're having a difficult time with, they're usually insecure. And there's this place of asking them what's going on or how may I help, finding ways to put them in a comfortable place by giving them a compliment about something about their behavior. They're waiting to be told they're wrong or they're not good enough. And when you come from that place, you see them in a different light.
Or they could be waiting for your reaction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if I'm going to kick you in the shin and you give me back a violent response, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yes. Yes.
But if you turn around and look at me and say, why did you just do that?
Yeah, tell me what that's about. What was that?
Nobody's ever asked me that before.
No, and I will say, to back up for a moment, when one of your values gets stepped on, you're going to go off usually in some way. So you might kick somebody in the shin or yell at them. But yeah, when you actually stop and say, boy, that didn't make me feel very good. It puts you in an insecure place.
Or that hurt.
Yeah, that hurt. There's a lot of self-reflection in all of this material that takes place
And
when
never
you're...
fear, because people can, if they want to go deeper in this, all they have to do is to go purchase your book.
That's right, because the tools are all there, but it's all in stories, so it's a fun read.
So we bring to setting intentions. Okay, so dealing. Are you done with dealing with insecure people?
Sure,
Empathy.
sure. We'll go forward. Yeah.
Okay, so after learning how to deal with insecure people, setting intentions versus expectations. That sounds powerful.
You know, expectations are for the others, but for yourself, if you have expectations, they're never going to turn out the way you thought it was. You're on this emotional roller coaster. And I laughed at one day I was speaking and my husband happened to be in the audience. And I said, so, you know, on my honeymoon, I had expectations. And he yelled, where are you going with this?
You better 138 miles per hour, honey.
I said, when I'm in Maui, I'm expecting to hear the water, see the water from my room on my honeymoon. I had expectations. We go up to our room, and if I stand on my tippy toes on top of the toilet, I can see out this little window some blue ocean, and I'm already devastated and have just turned into a real stinker, which continued for the next 3 hours, even though my husband said to me immediately, we'll just ask for a different room. But I had expectations, and they weren't met. And I've already been devastated, and I couldn't let go of it. So we want to say every day, my intention is to be the best I can be. I don't know what that's going to look like from moment to moment. Now I sound like I'm quoting the Four Agreements, but the book, The Four Agreements, which I love.
Oh, yes, Miguel.
Yeah. But if I go into a meeting, all I can say to myself is, I'm going to be the best I can be, and information will be gained. Not, I'm going to get this deal, and I'm going to make $1 million, and blah, blah, blah. You set expectations all day long about how you think your day is going to be or a situation is going to turn out to be, and it'll either be better or worse. It's never exactly like we thought it was. So it sets us on this emotional roller coaster. So it's just another way of truly being grounded is to set an intention, not an expectation.
Yeah, intentions is kind of makes you available.
Yeah.
Versus you're not there. You're kind of already checked out.
Right, yeah, because you know how it's going to be.
Yeah, I already know. This is a small window with little blue.
Right, exactly.
On your tiptoes.
There you go.
And you know what? When I look at my life and I see those moments, once I'm tripped into those, it really sours. It sours everything until I'm able to get out of that little funk.
Oh yeah, and I laugh.
FUNK, listeners.
Yes. Funk. Yes. And my best story of that was in the race car. I had been at this race the year before. I came in third place, so I had decided my expectation is I can win this year. I'm going to win. Well, when a race starts, you do a side-by-side lap before you get the green flag. And as I looked beside me at another, and I was in the Corvette, we were going through a very tight chicane, and I thought she was going to take my door off side by side, and I missed the green flag because I was busy looking at the car next to me. I was devastated. I wanted to pull off and lay down and cry. because I was now not going to win this race. My expectations had been shot. I, at that moment, realized my ego was so engaged that had ruined. I mean, I'm in front of 30,000 people in a race that's so much fun, and I've just ruined it for myself with my expectations. I pulled myself together somehow and said, this is for fun. This is for the crowd. How can I have fun? And I looked behind me, and here came a Porsche. I waved her around me. She waved me around her. We started playing side by side, corner through corner. Looked like we were having the dogfight of our lives. And it actually was the most fun race I ever had. We got out of those cars high-fiving, yelling, screaming. And what we found out is the crowd wasn't watching the winners. They were only watching us.
Wow.
Because we were having fun. They didn't know we were playing. They thought we were serious.
Well, yeah, I could see that. Taking the next one over, and yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. And so when I stopped with my expectations and my ego and said my intention is to have the best time I can with what's left here, I had the best time I'd ever had in a race car.
Well, it sounds like life, doesn't it?
It is life. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Take that curve. Wave me around.
And know that anything could happen.
Yeah. Wow. Sherry Ray, you have given us a lot to think about today.
Good.
And hopefully a lot more than just to think about, but a lot to work on.
Yeah.
So setting intentions as well. And that seems like it needs a lot of fine-tuning as well. I definitely need to work there, I have to place myself to be present completely with you, Sherry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what a gift it is when we're both here.
I love it. I love it.
Me too. And Sherry Ray, will you please come back with us another time, and we'll talk about another fun subject someday?
I'd be happy to.
That is so awesome. You're awesome.
Thank you, Slade. This has been fun.
It is fun. And Sherry, what is your bottom line message? And I know you're used to bottom lines.
Yes.
What is your bottom line message to humanity?
Be authentic always. Honor you. Live by your personal values to capture your inner peace and joy.
All right. Inner values to capture your inner peace and joy by Sherry Ray. This is slade-suiter. Until next time, be authentic, be true, find your traction in life in an authentic way, and be free. Let me just make sure I'm recording.
Don't you dare.
Sorry, I got it.
What was your intention for today?
It's just to get a rise out of Sherry.
It doesn't take much. That's my husband.
There she is. That was fun. You're fun, Sherry.
Thanks, Slade.
Authenticity Radio.
It has to be authentic. I should be able to feel it.
Real people and real authentic talk. Conflict is a choice you know. In order to gain a new perspective and how to resolve conflict in your organization, business, or family, go to AuthenticityRadio.com.
Hi, I'm Pixie Lott.
Authenticity Radio.
You are listening to Slade-suiter.